Based on the comments that I've seen in my other videos, I think there's a disconnect between tenants and landlords. Landlords a lot of times are not making cash hand over fist from your rental income. I know you're shocked and you believe that landlords are rich, but here's the truth. Most landlords operate their property at a cash flow zero or a cash flow negative just so that they can keep the money, keep the numbers on, keep the lights on. What do I mean by that? That means that they are willing to not make any profit on the monthly income for the property. As long as you cover their expenses, they don't care about making a profit on the monthly. Or some of them will actually take a loss and lose a little bit and have to pay out a little bit each month just so they can keep the property. The reason they do that is because the main play is the appreciation, the increase in value that the property goes up over time. If you're a tenant and you stay in the property for 5 or 6 years and that's increased the value of the property with you paying it, then they still win because they just collect their money on the back end. Would you feel, and I think that disconnect kind of is the problem with tenants and landlords. Tenants feel like they're working for the landlord and they don't feel like the landlord's adding any value. And the landlord feels like, hey, I made this investment, I just want a good return. Would you feel as a tenant that it was fair if you got to partake in some of that upside? If you got to get some of the upside and appreciation? So in other words, you live there for some time and then as the property goes up in value, you get a little piece of that. Maybe not all of it because you're a tenant, but some of it. You get the ability to take part in some of that. If that interests you, then let me suggest you check out a platform like LandTrustX. LandTrustX.com is one of those platforms where as a tenant, you can actually buy into the property at about $50 a share and you can own small pieces of property. And it's not a rent to own in the traditional sense where you rent it and you get a credit. You actually own the shares, so own a piece of the property. You get a part of the rental income. You get a part of the appreciation as it goes up in value. And you can do this, you can buy these shares, not from your rent, but when you have extra money, you put a little bit of extra money into buying shares and you own a piece of that property. The other part of this is that when you move from that property, you don't lose your shares. You still can take your shares, you still own those shares. You can sell them if you want at market value to somebody else, or you can keep them and buy shares in the next building that you go to, and you could own shares of any properties that you have. That way, over time, and here's the other part. Let's say you don't have the money this month to invest in some additional shares. That's okay. You don't have to do it. It's not part of your rent. This is something you do as an extra to build ownership in real estate without taking on all the headache and without taking on all the debt. Is that something that would help tenants? Would that make you feel that things were more fair? Let me know, because you guys have let me know everything else.